Tubers, Tibets, crazy people. Well, as we often do today, my wife and I went our separate ways when we went into Dumageddon. I had things to do, she had things to do, and that's normal. She'll go off for a few hours, I'll go off for a few hours, and we meet somewhere in the middle. And as I was asking my wife what happened today, she told me she did this, she did that, she did this, she did that. And then she met someone at Kazan Park. And I guess on the surface, the only thing that really happened was she was asked to join someone for lunch. But I read it as being something completely different. So I'm going to tell you verbatim what she told me in the car on the way home. And then maybe you can let me know what you think of the whole situation. All right, here comes our conversation. Okay, so this is one of those days when my wife and I leave, and she's going to go her way, and I'm going to go my way. She's got a relative in the hospital, and she wants to do this, and she needs to go there, and she's going to try to make a video, and I've got a meeting with this guy at 10 and another guy at 2, and blah, 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 blah. So we're not going anywhere together. We're going to meet up later, and that's kind of par for the course 2 out of 5 times that we go. But what struck me this morning as we were leaving the house is what my wife was wearing. And it was not what I'm accustomed to see her wearing when she leaves the house. She had on this camo tank top, which is fine, and then wrapped around it was this long kind of yellowish with white striped skirt, and then a blue baseball jacket, and none of the colors or the patterns worked at all. I mean, it was like if you wanted to make the world's most ugly outfit, I think she's going to come in top 5. And of course, me being me, I had to say something. I took a look at her and I said, you know, you look like a homeless person, right? Me being the Don Juan suave, loving husband that I am. And she actually started laughing. She said, yeah, I know. And I said, are you dressing like this intentionally? And she said, oh, yeah. I said, why? And she says, because I don't want to be noticed. And I left it at that. I said, okay, mission accomplished. So I dropped her off, and our usual spot where I drop her off, and then I proceeded to go and meet some fellas for the usual coffee clutch nonsense that I do on occasion. And so I think about 4 or 5 o'clock, 4:30, something like that, she messaged me. She said, I'm waiting for you over at such and such a coffee shop. And I said, fine. I went over, we hooked up, and threw her in the car and came home. Nothing unusual about that. So I said, well, what was your day like? And she told me, well, I saw my cousin who is in intensive care. I knew that. And I saw my mother, and I did this. And she said, I went to the public market and did whatever she does there. Oh, she met a girl to interview. That's what it was. And then she went to Kazan Park, which is another place that she goes because she'll occasionally bump into a woman that she can do whatever interviews for on her YouTube channel. So good on you, girl. And while she was in Kazan Park, a woman who claims to be 44, I don't know her name, and I wouldn't tell you if I did, approached her and was really friendly and said, hi, how are you? And my wife said, hi, I'm great. How are you? Nice to meet you. And she said the woman kept checking her out. And even though she was wearing this horrific outfit and looked like she was, 1 peso away from being destitute, she said she kept running her eyes up and down me like she was checking out her figure. And my wife happens to be very slender. And the woman happened to be very slender. And the woman said, hey, I've got an idea. So I think the woman assumed that May was what she was trying to portray. She was trying to portray herself as a province girl, poor, and simple. Like the word she loves is simple. She didn't want to be putting on any airs or anything like that. She just wanted to blend in and pretty much not be noticed. But this woman noticed her, and she made a beeline for her and said, hey, what's your name? What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. And she said, why don't you and I go to the boulevard? And I have a foreigner boyfriend, and he'll buy you lunch, and he would love to meet you. And I won't say where the restaurant was, but May said, well, what are you talking about? Why would he want to buy me lunch? And who's your boyfriend, and what's going on? And she says, well, at 4 o'clock, we always go and meet my boyfriend and his other foreigner friend and 4 other girls, and we talk. And May said, uh-huh. And why do you want me to go? Well, because my boyfriend is very kind, was the reply, and he'll buy you a nice meal. So apparently May, playing the part of the poor indigent province girl, was really working. And May says, well, she said, well, okay, you let me do a video with you, and I'll go have lunch with you and your boyfriend. So May does this video and with her, which I don't think I'm going to let her post. And I said, well, what did the woman look like? She goes, well, she didn't have any teeth. And I'm not laughing at that situation. It just, when she said that, it was just, I mean, God bless the woman. You know, but when she said that, it was just created a comedic moment in the car on the way home, when she told me that she had a boyfriend and had another friend and 4 other girls, and they were all going to chat. And I said, well, what happens after the chat? And she says, well, then we go to a particular establishment, and we go there at 8 o'clock, and we finish up at 4 a.m., and then we go home. And May said, uh-huh. And I said, well, what do they do? May didn't ever ask. So here's the bottom line. I'm going to keep this really short, really simple, really sweet. May was dressed, and she looked like she didn't have 2 cents to rub together. This woman spotted her and noticed that she had a slender frame and the long hair and all that kind of jazz, and that she had this foreigner boyfriend who meets at a certain time at a certain place on the boulevard, and that there's 4 other girls involved, and then they all collectively go to this other establishment that is there on the boulevard, and they drink and smoke, and she said the woman kept smoking. She says, like, nonstop. And did I mention she doesn't have any teeth? And then they're off to this nonstop, all-night drinking, smoking, partying thing until 4 a.m. And so May did this little video with her, and she says, come on, let's go to lunch. And she says, no, you know, I think I'm just going to pass on that. I'm going to walk around. I need to get some exercise, and it's starting to rain. So we'll catch up next time. And she said, okay, fine. So from that, I know what conclusion I drew, what this woman was doing. I guess the word that came to my mind was recruiting. I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Now see, I told you this would be short and sweet and to the point. And this is just a day in the life of Paul and baby May. And I thought it was interesting, so I figured I would share it with you tonight. Okay, that's it, kids. I'll see you in the next video.